Hello and good day, ladies and gentlemen, and today we are playing as Cilicia, the Kingdom of Lesser Armenia. We are Armenian, as many of the people in the Anatolian mountains are, as well as Miaphysite, in a sea of Sunni and Nestorian Christians, um, and relatively an odd one out. We sit essentially on the gate of the Gelarid Horde, and right next to the rise of the Turks. And on our third border, we have the Mamluks. So, quite a contested position. We don't have all that much going for us. We're a relatively insular, small culture. There's not that many Armenians in the world. Well, 1.5 million. But when you compare that to the Egyptians that we border, there's 3 million of them in the Mamluks, or the Turks. I believe there's about 2 million Turks in Anatolia. Quite limited when you look at it that like that. But what do we have going for us? Decent trade goods. We have decent RGOs, decent control, silk, olives, wheat, iron, tin. All the fun of Anatolia. What are my goals today? I would like to make it back to Armenia proper, instead of what I want to call lower Armenia, lesser Armenia, like Greater Armenia. If possible, I want to remake the Armenian Empire, which, depending on who you ask, might reach from the pyramids to the bottom of Syria all the way to the Caucasus, or taking over Cilicia, Cappadocia, the Levant, Chechnya, the Armenian Highlands, Georgia, Armenia proper, Azerbaijan. That's the goal. Will we get there? Well, considering I have Egypt on my door with 50,000 troops, maybe, maybe not. But essentially, cull the great Armenian diaspora that has happened. So, starting off, what does Miaphysite actually give us compared to something like Catholicism? Can't tax the clergy, a lot of religious and true faith, and a little bit of religious influence. Okay. Luckily, we do start with cores on a lot of our neighbors, or yeah, cores. So there is some easy land out there for us to take, especially against the Herminids. Well, easy to take, maybe not easy to integrate. For our government reforms, we will take autocracy and diplomatic traditions. Our nobility, who are incredibly powerful with 49% control, will get nothing for the moment, but we'll come back to them. Our clergy will get embellishment of great works, expansion of cemetery, and religious advisory council. Our burghers will get land of commerce, urban development grants, and treasury rights. Our commoners will get common militias and free mobility of the common people, and our nobility, to stop them from rising up and being pissy, will get noble navy and elaborate court life. That does hurt our legitimacy off the bat, but nothing a little bit of spending ducats can't fix. For early allies, nobody wants to be our friend. Georgia's almost close, so we'll rush to try and get Georgia, because we will also start improving relations with Egypt. Hopefully they won't come and kill us. We are in a unique position, to say the least. I can definitely see an early war against Cyprus just to get control. We start in the Damascus Assam market, or the Syrian market. Oh wow, our only town is on the coast. Our capital isn't even a town. That's fun. Okay, we'll have to upgrade our capital to a town as soon as we can. Our neighbors can outdo us in population. Oh boy, we are in a delicate position. Alrighty, well, without any further ado, let's get right on into it. Alrighty, so just taking in the first, the initial couple of years, we have a decently strong levy compared to most of the countries around us, Mamluks notwithstanding. Once I'm already justifying a CB to go on Cyprus to vassalize them. They don't have any allies and they have a good amount of money, which will just bolster us and give us another friend that we need in these trying times. Nobody has any interest in being our friend. So the only thing we really have going is this large population base that's centralized compared to some of our rivals. So as they build up control and actually get to maintain their efforts, it's going to be a very big problem. So I need to essentially work quick and try and deck as many wars before the Black Death rolls around as possible, just to rip and tear, as it were. And if the Egyptians look this way, I basically just have to accept whatever they want besides full annexation. Because I don't even have a fort in this country. And just like that, we're going to go in on Cyprus. They just got run over because they joined a Catholic crusade in Anatolia. So we're just going to pop in, vassalize them, and be right back out. For the age of the Renaissance, we're going to go admin focused. And just like that, we force Cyprus to be our friend. Look at that, a wonderful shade of blue. We'll start by improving relations. And even though they hate us right off the bat, we're also going to culture convert them to... Oh, okay. Apparently they're starting with a massive -50 malice. Should have annexed them and re-released them. Oh well. We'll improve relations with them until they love us. And now that we have our CB on the pyramids, we're just going to go on in as well while they're getting rolled over. I don't know if we'll be able to get all of the land we want from them. I don't know what the AI is going to take from them, but I just know we want to break his legs while we get the chance. We're going to disband the levy, stuck an ally who shouldn't be able to defend themselves either, and just run on over there. Alright, against ally, we are going to take their single location, all of their money, and give them a kick in the pants. We don't have to worry about coring it, as that starts as ours, even though it's Greek. Actually, who do we accept as a people? We tolerate the Syrians. We should tolerate the Greeks as well, because, you know, we're quite an accepting people. We just don't like the Turks. Alrighty, so we're going to take a full piece with the Achaemenids, all of their money, and all of their provinces. We're going to get a little bit of aggressive expansion for this, but really not that much, and everybody around us is too busy anyway. We're going to keep the provinces of Isil and Nigd for ourselves, and we're going to probably just make a bunch of vassal hell up here. We will not rival the Mamluks. In fact, I want to make sure to rival whoever the Mamluks have rivaled, which is Anziach. My goal is just to keep the Mamluks as content as possible for as long as possible. We technically have all of Anatolia threatening to join a coalition against us. We should be fine. We're quite powerful, although I still have to figure out how I'm going to get through the Gillirid Horde. And just like that, the Black Death has spawned. While we're suffering through the Black Death and are burning off some of our antagonism, I was just looking at the region around us, some of the rivers that we can rely on. So we do have some nice rivers going up deeper into Anatolia. Unfortunately, the terrain here is not against us. We really do get cut off by mountains and hills, as well as the vegetation of the forest. Basically mean we have this little verdant plain, and then everything out of that's going to kind of suck to push, albeit we do have the rivers. So I'm really thinking that we just want to make our little core bit of Lesser Armenia here as tall as possible, and keep everything out of it kind of farming based, agrarian, as it were, until we can figure out how to get over into the homeland of the Armenians and build a local governor right up in that mountains, in those wonderful, wonderful Caucasian foothills. So our vassal Cyprus is trying to declare independence with the backing of Sweden and Scania. Let's see how this plays out for them. Technically, they outnumber me a lot. However, if Sweden can make it all the way down here, then I'll eat a shoe. Just Cyprus really shouldn't be able to stop me from getting to their island. And just like that, Cyprus should be more or less beaten. Oh yeah, run your men over to the continent. I'm sure that'll go well. Hello, goodbye. Well, I didn't have being at war with Sweden on the docket, but holy fuck, they're here. Why are they here? Okay, wait a second. The Swedes are here. I have to actually pay attention. Why are the Swedes here? And why did they bring heavy cavalry? And why are my guys pink? Are textures not loading correctly? Oh, I have so many questions. Doesn't matter. Kill the Swedes. This is stupid. Cyprus, peace out. Damn it. Sweden, peace out. I don't need to be at war with Sweden. And Sweden's bringing over 19 more guys. Welcome to Armenia. Please leave. Okay. So another development. I was actually justifying a war goal on the Germanids, but they've just decked on me with the coalition CV. So now, not only am I fighting Sweden, but I'm also fighting the guys who I was about to deck on. So this is fine. It's going to be a little bit technical, but this should be fine. This, so long as the Swedes stop suiciding into me. Not the game I was expecting, but the game I'm gonna play. Okay. To get out of this Cyprus war, I'm gonna pay Sweden 50 ducats and more reps, and he's gonna go away. Which is so stupid, but sure. Then from Cyprus, I'm going to take 25 ducats and annex them back once they're willing to actually come to terms with the fact they lost. Okay, fantastic. I'll take 25 ducats from Cyprus and annex them back. And this time I'm not giving them their... Oh, yeah, this time I'm keeping the island for myself. I'm not giving them their independence. I'll just integrate it manually. Because clearly they can't be trusted. And against the anti-Sicilia coalition, I'm going to steal the province. I have a Coron and Isel, Alai, and no ducats. Just, oh, actually a couple ducats. A whole 14 ducats. And just like that, we have really cemented ourselves as an Anatolian player with a whole bunch of Turkic vassals. I would like to basically appease all of them. And fantastic, we got everybody's favorite parliament event, promote urbanization, which will hopefully make your capital into a town, if I can get it passed. Which we can. So hopefully nobody cancels that on me with a bad event. And thankfully the parliament debate has passed, so we now have a wonderful, wonderful town on our capital, and it can stop just being a random field that all the nobles are sitting in. And again, the Cypriots continue to cause problems because of a Catholic revolt now on the island while we were integrating it. I guess they just won't ever learn. Oh, that's fun. This is the first time I've actually been on the receiving end of the Rise of Terror event. Hey, if we're lucky and the AI is competent, which is, I'm not holding my breath, hopefully they'll break the Gelairids for us. Because between the Gelaerid and the Retinids, they hold about 8,000 troops, which I can't hope to get through at the moment. In other news, we're just going to blow on through the Teke. I'm actually just going to let my vassals carry this war, as they should be able to figure it out. And just like that, we'll take Teke's whole province, all of their ducats, and give them a kick in the pants. And of course, immediately re-release them as a historical fiefdom. Welcome back to the world, friend. Nice and loyal. We're gonna start probably annexing some of these guys soon too, since they're getting quite content. Not that I can necessarily push control that well, but I do want to start converting the land over to being Armenian instead of Turkish. Because maybe as a side goal, besides taking back all of the core Armenian land, you know, do a reverse than what happened in the Turkish War of Independence. I don't know if I can mention that in a YouTube video, so we're just gonna try and conquer all the Turks, because an Armenian owning the Turks is funny. For no specific reason, and don't talk about it in the comments. Okay, after kowtowing to the Egyptians a partially ridiculous amount, I'm able to get an alliance. So I'm going to ally Egypt. Oh, okay. No, I can get that alliance. I just need to be quicker on the draw. I think if I... How close is it? It's -1. So I think if I improve relations with them a bit more, they might be willing to... Yeah, it's right on the line. But if I can get this alliance with them, then I can use Egypt to beat down the Gelaerid horde, and I should be able to eat up some of the Eretinids' land. I just have to basically keep prostrating myself on their front door. In other news, we're just working on spreading the Armenian culture and eventually the Miaphysite Church. So we'll offer an alliance to Egypt, and they accept. Huge. Okay. Now, even though technically I do need some Egyptian land, that's a problem for later, because I can go and fight the Gilarids, because Egypt hates the Gilarids. All right, sweet. And Teke has some claims over there. So let's actually go and throw my vassal horde over here really quick. I'll just let them deal with that, and then I'll go in on the Retinids. So we'll deck on the Metnids for Teke's follow-through threat. Huge. And after this one real quick war with Metnids and Ionids, I will... Oh yeah, I'm gonna piss people off. I will take all of the Ionids' land and their money, as well as all of the Metnids' land and all of their money, because antagonism is just a number, and nobody actually really cares. And just like that, we have a wonderful bit of border soup. I will cede the Isle of Chios to the Ionids. And all of my vassals are still loyal? Yes, alrighty. Well, we're kind of going the wrong direction for Greater Armenia, but all of Southern Anatolia is ours, so that's something. And again, everybody's favorite Parliament Act to promote urbanization, which will make Ias a town. We are starting to get the Renaissance institution spreading, so that's good. Professional armies is going to be quite important, and Renaissance is going to be quite important. Banking, not so much. Just while we're taking some time building up a spy network on the Gilarids, I've been building up the RGOs around the capital, namely the saffron, a bit of lumber, and also developing the capital to actually have a serviceable amount of urbanized buildings, and of course everybody's favorite, sweet bridges. Oh gosh, how I love building bridges. They're possibly my favorite building in the whole game. With that sweet proximity modifier, it's fantastic. So yeah, not that the roads that I'm laying are doing that much, because obviously we have rivers. The bridges stack up nicely. The control around the country is growing quite positively. Of course, everything in our core area is decently high, but even out stuff on the fringes, still integrating Cyprus. Maybe I should have re-released it, but I don't know. They had it too good for too long. Culturally, very Armenian with a little bit of Greek. The Turks are starting to get a little bold for their britches. I'm not sure we'll be able to keep that going. And religiously, we are still, the Miaphysite Church is not growing at the moment, unfortunately. In time. Alrighty, and just like that, we have our claims on the Retinids, and by proxy, all the Gilarids. Luckily, the Mamluks want to jump right on in, and we'll be able to take all of the good old core Armenian land we want, without that much antagonism anyway, because nobody cares about the Turks. So we'll go claim on province. With Egypt backing us, we should bowl over the Gilarids with no questions asked. Thank you, Mamluks. I'm just going to raise my levies. I'm not going to do too much. I'm not going to do too many punitive expeditions. I just want to make sure that I paint my name on... Alrighty, so we're going to peace out against the Gilarids. We're going to fully annex the Retinids as well as half of the Sudids. There was nothing interesting that happened there. The Egyptians carried the war. We do get a fair amount of aggressive expansion for this. My solution to that is, I don't care. I have the Mamluks on my side. What are you going to do about it? Everything goes to me. Now, the good news and the bad news of this is there is no way that I can control all of this. So I'm going to see, within reason, we get a road to the city of Sebastia. And once I get a road there, I will set up a local governor. Otherwise, I'm going to give away all of the other states to vassals, but make sure I keep this corridor open. And actually, it should be a pretty easy corridor to keep open. As well, this should mostly... Yeah, so we definitely are going to have our work cut out for integrating all of this. But it'll be interesting. So I'm going to cut this up into a bunch of vassals and be right back. Alrighty, and just like that, we've cooked up some wonderful, wonderful vassal soup with Kirshir Bazak, what do you, Tokad, Semizigek, AQ, or Akwayanlu, and Melataya. So once we get this road going between our capital and our new city, hopefully we're actually able to project some real control there. Until then, hopefully nobody revolts against us. As for our antagonism, mostly Anatolia, that's actually not that bad. To counter it from getting out of control, my vassals have some follow-through on threats against some enemy countries. So I'm just going to disband levies and deck on Ahis, who's very weak right now, and probably just steal their money to fund my roads. Yeah, because we have a lot of follow-through on threat. I don't actually want any of their... Well, okay, I might take Bafra, but that's besides the point. I don't actually want any of their land, though, at the moment. Just a quick war against Ahis here. Gonna return this province to the Hamanids, take 50 ducats, and dip. What else? No, this was the last war. Okay. Hate when the game does that. Makes me think I'm taking more than I am. And back to building roads between here and the capital. Only need 340 more ducats. Oh boy. Actually, no, this is... shoot. I should have kept that for myself because... Do my favorite thing here. If we transfer this location to this vassal, then I can seize this territory from Kirishir, and from Askray, I can seize this territory, and, you know, neither of them are particularly, like, neither of them are enthused, but, you know, neither of them are pissed, and then I just have to build one road. In fact, if I take out a quick loan here, quick 2 loans, I can get a road, the road I need set up for much cheaper and just antagonizing my vassals slightly. And then I'll actually be able to get control out through here. Is it the most efficient place for a local governor? No, but I won't be able to get any real proximity up there, I don't think, anyway. No, I'm going to put it here because I'm going to have more expansion to do up here, and by the time, and I have conversions to do, so to get 80 control up here. Because this land is some Armenian minority, but very Turkish, and all wrong religion, so I need the control to push it. In other news, it looks like the Gelarids have entirely exploded, so I think that's good. Oh, also just to address a couple things while I'm running the economy here. So you might notice that I am only taxing the nobles and the burghers. That's because the nobles are my early game cash cow, because that's the estate where all of the actual money is centralized. I don't actually tax the clergy, because the happier your clergy are, the more that they help directly with your research. And there's not that much money in taxing them anyway, so I just let them keep it so I can research faster. The burghers are easy to keep happy, and so you can always tax them for the max, and even while I'm max taxing them, or taxing them to the most that I currently can, they're already overly content, so I'm not losing out on anything. And the commoners, by not taxing them, it increases, because the commoners are like 95% of my population, it increases the satisfaction of so many people that compared, so I would make 5 ducats off of taxing them, but by having them not be taxed, they're at 92% satisfaction. So if I look at the satisfaction of my population, most of my provinces are at 99%, because the vast majority of people, the Armenian peasants, aren't being taxed. And the 20,000 dirty Armenian peasants outweigh the pissed off 100 nobles. And because they're so satisfied, it gives me no max control penalty, as opposed to some place where people aren't dissatisfied, where you get like a 1 percentage point penalty per 10. So I'm essentially getting like a roughly a 5% control buff if you're usually running at 50% tax by overtaxing your peasants. Um, and getting institution growth bonus, which is really nice to have. So it just works out better for me not to do that. As for tribes, don't tax tribes. You get nothing out of it. And if I don't tax them, they just shut up and do this. So sure. As for the other economy sliders, I have a bunch of vassals, so I need to max my diplo spending to keep them loyal. Forts I only turn on when I go to war. Sorry, your cost of court directly impacts your legitimacy, right? Because it's so expensive to keep the cost of court at max, you probably keep it at like 70 and be okay. Or you could just put the slider all the way there and pay the tax. It's like Rudo corruption in EU4, right? You just max it and forget about it. Stability, I find it's definitely not worth maxing, and you just kind of let it hover. Make sure it doesn't go too negative, but somewhere between the 10 to the 50 range, especially if you want to start ripping away privileges from everybody, is where it gets good. Because, like, for example, ripping away privileges from the nobility is going to cost me 100. I go to negative 50. I'll pay it back up to 10. We'll all be happy. So yeah, that's the rough gist. In other news, the control in the freshly conquered land is very poor, and the culture map isn't that different. Once we actually start integrating the tiles up here, it'll be really easy to get full cores, because most of this has a large Armenian minority. I am concerned about some of my vassals converting it away, but no, nothing I can really do to stop them at the moment. I don't need another Cyprus incident. Cyprus, and yeah, the Miaphysite Church is suffering at the moment. We're small. We're even getting pushed out of Egypt proper. Actually, what is the Miaphysite Church? Okay, it's the dualism. Okay, it was the council that was held in Egypt. Oh gosh, is that the one where Saint Nicholas walked across the aisle and beat that guy? I can't remember. Um, but because of my religion, nobody wants to marry any of my heirs, so I keep having to marry them off to nobles. Wow, and all of the nobles are old. And just like that, we're gonna drop a local governor down in Sebestia, and hopefully that'll help push control in the newly conquered regions much better than what's happening right now. Oh, speaking of that, actually, now that most of our land has stabilized and our our conquests need to be actually consumed, we find ourselves in a really awkward position, as I continue to find myself split between three relatively powerful markets. So I'm probably going to want to set up a new market in the capital of Cis. It'll be a couple hundred ducats, but c'est la vie. Just so that I can actually control my own stuff. Yeah, it'll be 200 ducats. Oh wow, wait, that's it? Timber died in 20 years? Well, that sucks. I was kind of hoping that Timber would come in and do something, but he did absolutely nothing. I can't actually see. And yep, that's cool. The Timber situation had just festered out. That's awful. Okay, well, that's a shame. Alrighty, we're also just going to take a quick pop into the Karasids, as we have a follow through on Threat CB for Smyrna, and Smyrna is a fantastic port. And I'll just let the vassals fight that out, because they really shouldn't need me. Alrighty, I'm not going to go all the way up to siege down the Ottomans. So from the Karasids, we'll take all of their land. And the ducats they're willing to give me, we'll give them a kick in the pants. Oh, and sorry, the Arachnids have also just declared an independence war against me. Please tell me. Of course, they destroyed the local governor. God damn it. Okay, give me a minute. I gotta fix this. So, because of the Arachnid Turkish revolt, they also got the backing of the Canarids and the Coachella, who I suppose they are the breakaway. Oh, they're a Greek Sunni. Interesting. I'm gonna see if I can steal the Constantinopolis market from uh, from Coachella if I get lucky here. Hopefully. Okay. From Coachella, I'm going to take war reps, as much money as they're willing to give me, and I'm going to take control of the Constantinopolis market from them. That market is going to end up in Kula, which isn't great, but you know, it's a market technically in our name. I'm going to end up giving that away to a vassal at some point. From the Kandarids, I will just take their money and their war reps, and then we will annex the revolter. Okay, now that we've saved up a bit of money on the next month tick, we're going to throw down a new market in our capital. And in just a month, it should be finished. All right, and just like that, we have a new cis market. Now, it's not the biggest market in the world, but it is food positive. Okay, we want to make sure that we don't starve. And I'm also going to have to throw down some trade capacity, hopefully. But that'll let us have a little bit more self-reliance and gives us some good control actually into good trade, and it gives us some good trade, or sorry, market access deeper into our lands. Eventually, what I could probably do, well, no, the mountains here, you do need about 3. I do wish that Kula was, that's my fault for taking it then. And we bring our second vassal of ally into the fold. We're just going to work our way down the coast. Part of the problem is being able to project control out that far, because the proximity to the capital is going to start to limit us. However, with barks coming up, we should be able to keep it going. And it has a pretty decent, yeah, it's not that bad. Well, yeah, getting control out there is pretty bad, but, you know, we just got to keep building roads. Hey, you. Yeah, you over there. Are you enjoying peak Sicilia content? Then click the subscribe button. Alrighty, one of our vassals has given us a follow-through threat against Coachella. It should be a pretty free war, so I'm just gonna pop in, steal their money, and get out. I really shouldn't take any other land. I might take just the city of Constantinople because I can. Just like that, a really quick in and out war. War reps, get them to return some land. Don't return land to Bohemians. Just real quick in and out war reps and money. And I can't help it. I can't help it. I am gonna steal Constantinople and make it, yeah, sweet Sicilian, Sicilia. Not Sicilian, Sicilia. Alrighty, just spent a couple years improving control through the nation. I integrated a couple smaller subjects. I'm trying to grow our control near Sebastia, and of course building the greatest building in the entire game, that of course being bridges. And we're just going to deck on Coachella again for a bit more money, and this time we're going to try and eat up as much of their coast as we can. Try and keep, what even is this? Huh. But yeah, no, just going to deck on Coachella again, try and eat up as much of their Greek land as possible this time. Just so that it all doesn't get converted away, so we can de-Turkify. Anyway, we're going to deck on follow through on threat, and away we go. Again, I'm just going to let my vassals eat them alive, and I'll just be there to do some sieges. And we just got Renaissance's next government reform. Because of how heavy we're going to play into subjects for the time being, I think I'm just going to take feudal nobility, and especially because a lot of the nobles in our realm are wrong culture, wrong religion. Just keeping the noble state happier more is better for me. Oh fuck, the Kandaharids joined this war too. Okay, well I guess we'll break them. Alright, the Kandaharids have been full siege down, so it wasn't my intention. But I think I'm just going to eat them whole. Nobody I really care about cares, and it's very free. I'll just take the rest of their money and send them on their way. Again, the antagonism technically is quite bad, but with the Mamluks besides me, it's no worry. And just like that, Coacheli's broken pretty bad too. So we're gonna take their coastal land. Actually, wait a second. Well, this wasn't necessarily my intention, but it's certainly what I'm gonna do. Coacheli is broken as well, so we're just gonna, yeah, we're just gonna eat them up as well, and all their coastal land. Yeah, that was a much more aggressive war than I was expecting. Just for reference, my antagonism is a lot, but nothing I can't handle. In return, I have all of. Basically, I'm the new master of Anatolia. I just have to actually give this land away now. Alrighty, well, it is pretty gross, but we control all of the coastline of the important regions of Anatolia. I've managed to go the exact wrong way. I'm supposed to be going deeper into the Caucasus, but hey, if there's a free fallen Byzantine and Ottoman Turk Empire, then you just scoop it on up, I guess. Alrighty, so with our recently increased culture capacity, I'm going to accept the Greeks. If I was not to accept the Greeks, I could accept the Turks, but I don't want to accept the Turks. One, because we're playing Armenia, and two, because Turkish. Um, but the Greeks and the Armenians, there's the whole history of the Armenians being the middleman, so to speak, between the Greeks and the Eastern world, and the Far East. So it kind of seems fair that we can learn to work together. Also, the Turks, I think, will be easier to culture convert as time goes on. So yeah. Besides, multiculturalism is overrated anyway. Now, the good news is, well, yeah, there's bad news and there's good news. The bad news is it's going to be quite difficult to overcome the amount of Turkish cultural tradition and cultural influence. As Armenia, I'm just going to have to pump out a lot of universities, and it'll come, it's just going to be expensive. The better news is that Miaphysite should be pretty easy to push. Because if I come over here and look in Sebastia, for example, we are able to convert 100 people monthly in most of these most of these locations, whereas over in Karachi, where we're doing cultural conversion, we're only able to achieve about 4, which is not a great ratio. So I might chill on the culture conversions for the moment and just worry about bringing everybody into the Miaphysite church, and then I'll come back and make everybody sweet, sweet Armenian. The other thing that I'm having to do is I have to make sure the provinces are majority Armenian before I upgrade them to towns, because you can only build universities in your core culture towns. So I suppose I could also build them up on Cyprus, because that's where I have a bunch of Greeks that I accept. But do I want to turn Cyprus into one big town to make sure they all won't starve? What's the worst that happens? And just like that, we've got another one of my favorite techs, the Bark. Not going to go crazy hard with Naval this game, but it's just going to help us get some better control down in Cyprus. Speaking of control, our control map at the moment's looking pretty good. Obviously, there's our core corridor by the rivers and the local governor, and the rest of Anatolia is getting along. We are starting to spread the Miaphysite religion. Certainly, at least linking back up to our old core Armenian lands. And on the culture side, not that much has changed. We do have some more Armenian primary cultures there, but really the magic of it is we're creeping up in our cultural influence and tradition, because I'm building up some more universities along the coast here and in Cyprus. And we finally managed to annex one of our vassals off in eastern Anatolia. I'm going to just keep pushing so that we can eventually border up next to Armenia proper and hopefully save Armenia Greater from the Georgian oppressors, and maybe even turn the tables there. So now that most of the country has been converted over to Miaphysite, you can see, right, we have it all the way up to Sebastia, and Cyprus has been mostly converted over from Catholic. The only remnants here will get dealt with really quickly. We're going to actually start trying to convert people over to being Armenian, get rid of the Turks. It'll take a little bit of effort, especially because the Turks, because I have so many Turkish vassals, the Turkish people have a lot of things going for them, but that's nothing a couple of universities can't fix. So really, it's just as simple as dropping down the lads and sending them to work. By the end of it, I want my country to be nice, green, and cored. Well, I've just been here, building up the nation, and I just realized accidentally I've built up all of the RGOs, so I really do have to start annexing in some more vassals. That also means, though, I probably want to stop taxing the nobles so I can strip their land rights away from them, as I don't need them to be that powerful, because the really only benefit I get out of them, the real the only real benefit I get out of them having land rights is the fact that they're allowed to expand RGOs. But if they're not expanding RGOs for me, why bother giving it to them? So we're gonna just start by turning off the nobles tax and seeing if that keeps them nice and happy. We're also just gonna go in on Ahis for religious war. I haven't decided if I'm gonna take land off of them yet, but I certainly. Oh, Egypt wants to come. Yeah, sure, Egypt, get on in here. Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm going to take land off of Ahis, but I'm certainly going to take their money. If Egypt is here, I should probably break them. In fact, I might annex a lot of their land personally because they're a large Turkish tag, giving the Turks a lot of cultural tradition, and I have no need for that, so do my best to diminish them. And besides, they're the last major independent Beylik. The only other remaining Beyliks are, well, they're getting removed by our Bafra, which is getting removed by the they just got removed by the Trebizandi, and the remnants of Kosheli. And I think that's it. I think the rest are technically under me. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There is the Republic of Sarhan, right next to the Saranids, and the Republic of Safranbolu, right next to the Karenids. And besides that, Anatolia is mine. Alrighty, so we'll full annex Ahis and take as much money as they have. And I'm going to part away this land to my vassals, and I'll probably keep the province of Ankara for myself. Alrighty, so the next step in my plan, I'm going to try and build up a professional army, at least enough that I could roll over. Well, actually, no, Serbia isn't joining, so I could probably do this now. This is still going to be quite a war because it's Trebizond and Bulgaria. Oh, but the Mamluks, okay. This is going to be a stomp. So this war is going to be going in against Trebizond. I'm just going to take their land. And once I get it, I'm going to move the local governor from Sebastasia to Trebizond. Just because of it'll be a better position. You can see with the control range, my capital can push control pretty comfortably now, roughly to halfway into Anatolia. And if I had another governor, it would be more efficient pushing there as well as on the coast. Technically, I'll have to make it a naval governor. I think I can. If not, once I finish integrating this guy, I'll just I'll be able to drop one. So we'll be able to take the claims on threat, CB. Egypt's willing to join us, and DEC. I was gonna wait, but if Serbia isn't coming and the Mamluks are willing to help, I don't even think I need to raise anything. Anatolia will march for me. And the only other thing I really have to do is deck on Kacheli with the follow through on threat 2, and that will be everything that could be defined as a major player in Anatolia taken care of. Yes, there are 2 tiny one location miners, and I choose to say that they aren't real. Alrighty, from Bulgaria, I'm just going to take all of their money, get war reps, humiliate them, and seize the 2 provinces that they have in the Aegean, just to kick them out of Anatolia proper. As for the poor Trebizondes, we're just gonna eat up all of their Anatolian land. Could I take the land up here? Yeah, I don't care though. Take over their money. Technically, I'll get war reps, so sure. And we'll peace out with them like that. Just to make sure I can build the local governor over in Trebizond, I'm just going to seize this piece of territory off of the vassal. And also just... Ooh, actually, is that all I needed? It does technically connect there. Fantastic. So we'll just hook that into our road network. And we will have a perfectly good valid connection. I will have to integrate that, but you know, swings and roundabouts. I am staring down a Shiite civil war too. Oh well, if they rise up, they rise up. Now, the one downside about the Trebizond people, the Pontic? Yes, the Pontic people, is that they are Pontic, not Greek. So we will have to Armenify the place, I guess. It sounds kind of bad when I say it like that. But, you know, swings and roundabouts. Otherwise, we're just going to keep building towns in all Armenian majority provinces because I kind of have a glut of money. And I'm also going to start ripping down the burghers' control shortly. And now that most of everything has calmed down, I'm also going to take away formal guilds from the burghers. This is going to antagonize them and give us quite bad stability, but it's as simple as paying to max it out, and they should come back around before revolting. I can't have them getting too strong, especially as I'm building a bunch of towns. I have to make sure that the crown is the authority on the matter, so to speak. Oh, and finally, we've also annexed Semigizek. Listen, it's Turkish Kurdish. There was never hope in hell. Just be happy I tried. Which, besides antagonizing all of my other vassals, means that we have many access points into Trebizond and can set down our local governor. So we can start pushing some real control. I'm also going to start annexing Akkoyunlu next. Yes, after we finish annexing this revolter. Yeah, I think I'm going to move on to Akkoyunlu next. As you can see, our cultural influence is growing ever bigger, so we'll actually be able to start culturally converting provinces over as well. Unfortunately, we've just basically been all of this is from passive cultural conversion, or you know, nothing very active about it. I also did kind of go around and target and convert over a bunch of the smaller Turkish Beyliks just to see if they would actually stick. For example, Bolu, who is still Armenian, or like the Inanids, which are all still Armenian. So technically they're counting in our favor. Hopefully they are able to convert their land over. It looks like they're doing it successfully, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Anything to kind of make the Turkish hold a little weaker. As you can see, the steam of the Armenian culture has really picked up. We have 550 cultural influence. So, and actually, because I converted over so many random little vassals, it's really taken a chunk out of the Turkish cultural influence too. So I'm really just starting to stack up some funny things. Obviously, it's antagonized the vassals a little bit, but nothing I'm going to cry about. And I mean, it's led to things like the island of Cyprus being essentially university the island. So yeah, it's all coming together as far as I care to say. In other news, the integration of Trebizond goes well. Minor revolt ripped down the old local governor, so we're just building it back up. But next step is going to be going into Georgia once we consolidate and clean up some of the Turkish remnants. In fact, you know what might be really funny? I am going to go over to our vassal of Byzantium and enforce them to be Armenian because nothing's funnier than Armenian Byzantium. And I'll actually do the same for Izmit. Where is it? Enforce culture. Perfect. Again, they get a little bit uppity, but I'm not concerned about them being uppity because I have the Mamluks backing me. Although I am starting to put together a professional army, that's just a massive cannon stack. I would eventually like to throw hands with the Egyptians. I'm just not ready yet. We're going to go take the homeland back, and then we might go and get the fuller extent of the Armenian Empire. And let me just be on the record at the moment. Cilia is probably the most enjoyable campaign I've had in EU5. It's it started small, but it just has some real explosive power behind it. The trade, like, we've never had a shortage of money. This trade region, which looks like hell, is 1,250 ducats. That puts me on par, a little bit behind Alexandria. Puts me on. Okay, we're not the richest in the world, Tunis. We're a competent like market. It's been fun, and we're also split between Alexandria, Trebizond, and Kula, which I could probably get rid of two of those, like all three, and replace them. But eh. But yeah, it's been a real breath of fresh air. Of course, Anatolia and the Balkans are probably the most enjoyable regions to play in. I mean, like, especially with the upcoming DLC or flavor pack or whatever it is. I want to hold off of playing in a Orthodox nation until then. I mean, one of my first games was, of course, the Byzantines, but and I have a soft spot in my skull for the Bulgarians. It's just something about them. I haven't played them yet in EU5, but I hope that they have a fun campaign when I get around to it. All right, just as a quick culture update, you can see that Armenian is growing culturally, especially into some of the Turkish beyliks that we've converted on over. Even in Constantinople, we're starting to get some seed populations, whereas Miaphysite is also growing. We're currently working on converting away the Orthodoxy of Trebizond. In other news, the Crown Power continues to solidify. We're up to 36%. So I'm just going to keep on slowly chipping away at estate privileges. And we've almost hit 2 million in pops. We've also been annexing away at some of the beyliks. I would like to clean up Anatolia before I set this down. Although it is getting slightly difficult because some of the Turks are starting to lay down universities to challenge how fast I can grow. I mean, Turkish cultural influence is at 200 and, Turkish cultural tradition is at 240, whereas Armenian is at 400 or 800. Wow, we have an incredibly strong. Well, I guess that's what all the universities will do, huh? But yeah, it's somewhat unstable just because of all the beating the stability has taken, but we're doing okay. And we'll embrace the printing press because I want to get to those sweet paved roads. I know it's going to put me a bit into negative stability, but I want. Ooh, oh man, and population growth? That is amazing. Wow. Yeah, Miaphysitism is it's got some neat stuff going on. Wow. And you know what? I like Armenians. I like Armenian nations. That's some of the most enjoyable stuff that I've done. This has definitely been one of the best games that I've played in EU5. Like it's just a vibe. Alrighty, and this is probably gonna upset the burgers. And again, the nation isn't perfectly stable, but I think I'm going to revoke auxiliary et consolium. Levies we're kind of past the point where I should be using levies anyway. I need to really start putting money into my professional army. This is going to bring us down really low in stab, and I'm probably going to get a revolt from it, but we'll just be able to ride it out. The only other thing I'm going to have to do is start appeasing the nobility essentially instantly, and give it a tick. Yeah, there goes most of the cash we were making in surplus too. But it'll get better, and we just gotta ride out the stab hit until the nobles get contented again. So I've just noticed that Egypt has gone to war against Georgia in a kind of proxy war. So I'm probably going to do my best to take advantage of that and find an excuse to deck on Georgia once I have more stability. Um, just because if they're getting screwed over by the Egyptians, that's the prime opportunity for me to get in there and, liberate core Armenian homeland. Not that we are the little Armenia anymore, but just to make sure that we go and maybe bring Armenia back under its true fold. Alrighty, so the Georgians have been run right on over by the Mamluks. I'm just gonna, jump on in with the destroy enemy CB, let my vassals do the cleanup, and then pick over the scraps. It's free real estate. If we're lucky, I'll actually be able to take back some core Armenian land. Not that I could push any control out there at the minute, but free real estate is free real estate. Uh, and eventually we'll have to figure out what I'm doing with Merkwan too, as that is part of the old Armenian Empire. And then the real last question is, how the fuck am I going to beat the Mamluks? And the answer is wishful thinking. So we're just going to think about it wishfully, and eventually it'll happen. Oh, that's great. So Merkwan, after winning their independence from the Georgians, immediately allied them and joined the war against them, which is funny and annoying. It does mean that I'll basically go down and beat the snot out of them right away, because they do have. Well, okay, they don't have any land that's Armenian, but they have land that was Armenian and will have to be made Armenian again. Alrighty, so at some point my finger slipped and I accidentally stopped recording. Um, the only thing that happened is obviously the conclusion of the Georgia War. So from Merkwan, we took this land and have just released it as a bunch of custom subjects. And from Georgia, we took the Black Sea coast and a lot of the Caucasus Mountain foothills, the Atlas Mountains. I can't remember what these are called. But we've basically broken into Georgia and are coming towards the Armenian homeland. We're still stabilizing. There's just a couple people that want to rise up that we're doing our best not to have an actual civil war over. In fact, are they going to rise up any forts? No. But otherwise, I'm just still going on and integrating a couple of vassals. The Armenian culture, meanwhile, is doing, we might be replacing a different culture. The Miaphysite Church is also doing quite well. Although, again, we are having some Orthodox zealots. Economically, we currently have 1,000 in the bank. Our tax base continues to expand. Our markets are very valuable. 1,000 there, 2,000 or 1,700 there, 1,800 there. That puts our markets on par with Pest or Eve for about the rough value. We're not A-listers, but solid B-listers. Things that do bring the change. And otherwise, though, everything is quite stable at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm actually going to get down to the rest of the land I need, but in good time. In good time. Also, we're finally going to upgrade our capital to a city. It'll take a couple years to finish, but this probably should have been done earlier. And just like that, we have gotten paved roads. This is about to explode the amount of control I can push over the country. Yeah, and we're just gonna start spamming upgrade roads because this is it. This is peak. Nothing better than just spam building roads. So as you can see, I've started enforcing culture on most of the subjects we took from Georgia, even the ones in northern Iraq as well. On top of that, well, Miaphysite really continues not to do well, but the Armenian culture is doing great. So as you can see, with the paved roads being laid down, our control, especially in the center core, is now really spilling into the Anatolian plateau. As for like Trebizond, because it's so mountainous, it's really hard. But it's just where all that sweet population is, and you gotta chase where the pops go. I think eventually, once I get the other local governor, what I would like to do is basically put one governor over on the west of Anatolia, one somewhere in the middle of Anatolia, and then one over in the Circassian foothills, or the Caucasian mountain foothills. Otherwise, the Armenian culture is continuing to expand, you know, and the Miaphysite church is not growing nearly as rapidly, but I'm focusing more on culturally. The integration map mode is doing quite well. I'm trying to think which else. Our pops, we have grown to being 3.39 million. That's mostly just from integration, right? We've started to centralize our vassals. It is spread pretty evenly between our starting area, the Trebizond coast, and the far west. And I'm trying to think, is there any other important map mode to show right now? Our economics are doing pretty good. I mean, it's Tool Guild and RGOs. Our RGOs are pretty well maxed out. And our buildings are still valuable, but we're always building more. Yeah, and I've also continued to be ripping privileges away from the nobles and the burghers. That's why we're at -50 stav at the moment. But when everything's good and happy, we normally make about 100 to 150 a month. Yeah, the Age of Discovery has been good for us. I'm going to push this a little bit further, and I might have to put a bookend on it and come back to this one. I'm really interested in seeing just how far Cilia can go. Unfortunately, I am out of time to do any more recording today. But just as a quick recap, we've grown from this little wedge right here into a dominionship over the whole of Anatolia, basically replacing all of the Turks. You know, we've also made it back to the doorstep of our home in Armenia. We've grabbed and secured and held on to dear life our alliance with the Mamluks. As if they really wanted to, they still could turn north and give us a real headache. We've built up our economy far past tenfold. We went from making a 15 ducat historical tax base to now over 1,100. We've built up our own market. We've expanded our culture, our religion. Although, you know, Miaphysite is still not the lion of Christianity, but it's getting there. I'm trying to think, is there anything else remarkable? We've obviously improved our integration and expanded our core lands, although we are still missing Antioch and other core things to our kingdom. But don't worry, we'll get there in time. I'm really feeling that there's going to be a part 2 to this. I do want to see peak Armenia, so to speak. Anyway, if there's anything you liked about this, disliked, things that you want to see different in the future, let me know in the comments below. Your communication, guys, has been fantastic, and it is an amazing thing to hear the voice of the community. I want to thank you all for 50 subs. That's a massive milestone for me. It means that what I'm making here, it's reaching some core audience, and I'm thankful for that. I hope that you all continue to have yourselves a great day. Thank you again for an hour of your time. And this is Brown Dog 2 signing off.